Firstly, thank you so much to Frank for agreeing to speak to us today and for Joe for setting it up. Frank has been president of the Alliance des Cru Bourgeois du Medoc since June 2021 and is going to talk about the current classification, which was launched in 2020, present the roadmap for the following years, including 2025 and 2030, and discuss the environmental commitment and global strategy of the group. He hopes to strengthen the pride, ambition and energy of the collective brand of the Cru Bourgeois du Medoc and recognises that the significant changes in the ecosystem around the world means they have to adapt strategy, demonstrate resilience and ability to listen. Frank has a full-time job as well. He's managing director of the Alliance wine properties since 1989. These include La Rose Trentadon, Cru Bourgeois Supérieur, Château La Rose Perganson. Ouais. Allez-y, vous connaissez mieux que moi, donc allez-y, c'est mieux comme ça. Nous, on a visité en effet la Rose Trentadon avec maman en 2000.
Right. And,
et c'était superbe. Hein?
Ah, super. Yeah,
you carry on,
change a little
Frank.
bit. President of the Alliance des Cru Bourgeois since June 2021. And at the same time, chief executive and chief winemaker of all the estates owned by Vignoble de la Rose, La Rose Trentadon, Cru Bourgeois Supérieur, La Rose Perganson, Cru Bourgeois Supérieur, Château Arnaud in Médoc 2, Cru Bourgeois Exceptionnel, and Château Tour de Pez, Saint-Estèphe. I will try in 50 minutes to share with you our passion for this category and profile of cru, because it's probably one of the best value today in the market and in value too. Cru Bourgeois today is 250 chateaux, and we are going to talk about the origin of Cru Bourgeois and some data about the different terroir and varieties and diversity of our Cru Bourgeois. First, the history of Cru Bourgeois began in the beginning of the 15th century when the people who had a lot of money in Bordeaux began to buy some estates in our area, giving the name Bourgeois. We had a different period, but we can stop just a few seconds in 1932 with the first classification of Cru Bourgeois with 444 estates and with 3 levels, Cru Bourgeois Exceptionnel, Cru Bourgeois Supérieur, and Standard Cru Bourgeois. Next one, we had our first official classification in 2003 with only 247 estates and cancelled very quickly because we had some, juridic conformity to certify this classification. Anyway, we decided to, during the period between 89 and 2020, we decided to give a sort of label recognition of the quality through an annual recognition as a Cru Bourgeois with a blind tasting. It was the first step before our first new classification in February 2020. And due to a huge job by the people working in the Alliance des Cru Bourgeois between 2016 and 17, and with the validation of the assembly of estates validation of the project of this new classification. Now, this classification, next one, please. This classification now is for 250 estates. You have 14 exceptional Cru Bourgeois, 16 Cru Bourgeois supérieurs, and 180 regular Cru Bourgeois, and on all the 7 appellations of Medoc, from the north to the south, from AOC Medoc to the south with Margaux and one part in Haut Medoc appellation. Next one. Today, probably it's less than 28 million barrels. It's close to 23 million barrels due to the low yield of the last 5 years. And well, it represents more or less 31% of the production. Well, it's a little bit less of 30% of the territory of viticulture in Medoc. It's a huge part of the production, and it's due to the large diversity of terroir we can have. 7 appellations, you understood, Medoc au Medoc, and the village appellation, Listrac, Molis, Margaux, Saint-Julien, Pauillac, and Saint-Estèphe, and for the 250 chateaux. The particularity of Medoc and of Cru Bourgeois is certainly the location between the ocean and the Gironde estuary. We are in the middle of the water, giving a special microclimate. Just to understand that between the temperature you can have close to the river and the temperature you can have more on the west of the vineyard, you can have 2 and 3 degrees Celsius of difference, especially during the night. Next one, please. Well, the diversity of terroir, important for us. You can find some more clay soil in the north of Medoc, in the appellation Saint-Estèphe, just on the south of this one, more gravel on clay, and close to Pauillac, Saint-Julien, and Haut Medoc, you can find gravelly soil, deep gravel soil, and sandy gravel soil, and with a different topography, because you can find close to the river hilltops and more to the towards the ocean, more flat location, a flat situation. But a huge diversity, and exactly the same for the grape varieties, because due to the diversity of soil, we adapted the grape variety to the soil and subsoil. You can find Cabernet Sauvignon, and probably more Cabernet Sauvignon in the appellation Pauillac, Saint-Julien, and Haut Medoc, giving blackcurrant, peppermint, and very full bodiness to the wine. You find Merlot, probably more Merlot in the north of Medoc, on the clay. It's very good type of soil and subsoil for the Merlot, and also in Margaux appellation, where the gravel are more fine and giving a nice result with the Merlot. And Cabernet Franc, and probably in the future you will find more Cabernet Franc in the vineyard, because we are considering now that probably it's one of the grape variety for the future, giving freshness and a really nice fruitiness in the wine. And Petit Verdot, just to have an idea, 30 years ago, we found in the final blend between 2 and 3% of the final blend made with Petit Verdot, probably now it's between 8 and 10%, because the Petit Verdot is very well adapted to the changing of climate. Next one, please. In terms of classification, well, we decided in 2020 to do this classification with the 3 hierarchical levels, like in the past, you know, exactly the same. Exceptional Cru Bourgeois, superior Cru Bourgeois, and regular Cru Bourgeois. And to give more, how do you say, more powerful to this classification, classification valid for 5 years. Why 5 years? Because first, it's really great for the consumer, because you are sure that all the wine growers tried year after year to grow up in quality, to be sure for the following classification to have a better classification. For the distributor, great, because during the 5 years, the distributor can capitalize on the brand, and during 5 years, and not only in 1 year regarding the annual recognition we had in the past. And for the wine grower, is great because they can have a real strategy, not a long-term strategy, but at least a real strategy based on a 5 years period, and not only 1 year. Second part important for the classification is made by and controlled by an independent body. Is QB verification for us, but you have 2 or 3 more in Bordeaux, completely independent and without any relation with the estates. And we have two regulatory texts, the rules and the text about verification procedure. Very well made. And personally, I participated to the first group of working on the 2 regularity texts. And well, now the result is we didn't have a lot of, you say, problem with this classification since the beginning. Next one, please. The stage for all the candidates for the 250 and probably more. We don't know because it's completely unknown. First, we need to deposit an application regarding more general rules. The second stage is to be able to show our engagement or certification in the agriculture environmental certification in France is HVE, high environmental value certification. Depending on the type of certification you want to have. The third stage is for the people wants to have a superior classification as a Cru Bourgeois supérieur or exceptionnel. We needed to deposit a second application with more items to develop, and that probably the most important is a blind tasting of 5 vintages for all the estates. Next one, please. In terms of tasting, blind tasting, he made my professional people working in the wine business, but without any connection with the estates. And well, for the first classification in 2020, the estate had the choice to present 5 vintages between the 2008 and 2016. For the next one, in 2025, the people, the testers, will taste the 5 same vintages for all the estates from 17 to 2021. And regarding of the result of the tasting, the tasters are able to classify the wines in 4 categories, A, B, C, D, each category corresponding to the level of quality we need to have to be able, just to be able to work for the classification exceptional, superior, or just regular Cru Bourgeois. Next one, please. In terms of environmental criteria, you see the slide. The first classification in 2021 was made to just to begin to influence the estates to be better, to have better practices. And to be regular Cru Bourgeois, we just ask to be at the level 2 of the certification of the Ministry of Agriculture. Just engage. For the next classification in 25, the estates who would like to be on a regular Cru Bourgeois will need to be certified, not just engaged, but certified as a level 2. And for Cru Bourgeois supérieur and Cru Bourgeois exceptionnel, for the first classification in 2020, we asked to be certified as a level 2. And for the next one, classification in 2025, we will ask to be certified as a level 2 and also to be at the highest level of this environmental certification is HVE3. That's the highest level of the certification today in France. But next one, please. It's not limit. Well, we have other practices, virtuous practices. We want to develop two inside our group of 200 today 250 estates. You have many estates engaged in ISO 141 environmental management system. You have people also working in organic practices, other one in biodynamic practices, and also other people working in a full sustainability in their vineyard. And it will be the future. I will talk later in our presentation. Okay, for a standard Cru Bourgeois, tasting of 5 vintage. Okay, blind tasting. The tasting needs to confirm the level that we need to have for the classification standard Cru Bourgeois, and to be was the first classification engaged, not certified, but engaged in certification level 2. That's the Cru Bourgeois today, is that. Next one, please. For the two other categories, superior and exceptional, we need to prepare an additional application, okay, regarding the technical management of the estates, technical management in viticulture, and also in vinification and aging and bottling. And also another item is a presentation of the capacity to the estate to work in marketing and promotion, individual and collective promotion, to promote the collective brand Cru Bourgeois, and also the capacity to promote themselves, their brands. To to be analyzed. The application is studied by a group of experts and with a final evaluation by a jury at the end of the process of classification. Please. Okay. In terms of management of the property, we need to complete in our second application. We talked about vineyard, harvest, winery. I talked about how we are able to increase our quality, for example, managing the oxygen in the wine, etc., etc. And also the capacity to be very, very rigorous in bottling, labeling, and storage of our wine. And if we can have, for example, many people have a quality assurance system to be sure that all the process are perfectly controlled. In terms of marketing and promotion, we talked about first the promotion on the site, on the estate, with the capacity to receive visitors, to develop and to show what is exactly a Cru Bourgeois, what are the engagement, the rules, to promote the collective brand Cru Bourgeois, but also the individual promotion regarding your capacity to sell your wine not only in our domestic market but also abroad, and with which sort of presentation, the price we can have in the different markets to valorize the work we do through our association and through all the estates. Next one, please. Well, you have the study of the application by experts for the two superior category, exceptional and superior, giving a visit to the property by two experts, one expert in technique and one expert in marketing. Experts accompanied by a person of the independent body QB verification. The experts, after the visit, after the study of the application, give a note on the 10 subjects in the application, and the note, the application is evaluated by the final jury, but it's a blind evaluation. The jury don't have any idea about what is the estate behind the note of the expert and behind the application. Okay, next one, please. Finally, to give the identity of a Cru Bourgeois superior, first the tasting with the right level in terms of tasting. For this category, the certification at the level 2, and not only to be engaged, and the minimum about the notation of the second application of 12 points. That's the minimum to be potentially certified Cru Bourgeois and classified Cru Bourgeois superior. For Cru Bourgeois exceptional, the same, the right tasting and the right note is, you remember, is category A for exceptional and category B for superior. Certified at the level 2 of the environmental certification. The same notation of the second application is 12 points, and the evaluation of the final jury giving the classification exceptional for, well, the best evaluation they can have with all the candidates. Next one, please. In terms of timing, for the first classification, we began the process, remember it was in 18, to publish the classification in February 2020, and with a domestic domestic market communication, and the same for abroad. With the problem we had for the first classification was it was just before the COVID period, and it was really difficult to communicate about that. It will be, I hope, much better for the second one. Next one, please. Important to say that during this period of 5 years for the classification, we check two times per the 5 years. We check the quality of the wine by blind tasting, and also all other items, especially regarding the labeling and bottling made by the estates. But it's not only a certification; it's a certification with two control during the period of 5 years to guarantee the right quality in the wine. Also, next one is the obligation for us and for us and for the consumer to find on each bottle of Cru Bourgeois the famous authentication sticker to guarantee the origin of the wine. It will be interesting for the future. We try to develop the QR code that we have on the sticker to giving more information to the consumer about our estates, and not only serving as a pure authentication sticker. Next one. Well, in terms of 2025 classification, different stage. We will have the same 5 wine tasted, but as I explained, it will be exactly the same vintages for all the chateaux between 17 and 2021, and we began for the regular Cru Bourgeois a certification at the level 2 of the environmental certification. You remember, for the first classification, it was only an engagement. Now it will be to be certified. And for the superior category, higher categories, obligation to be certified at the highest level, level 3. And well, as I explained, the future of Cru Bourgeois is following to grow in terms of quality. You understood that with the classification every 5 years, no time to sleep in our estates. We need to work a lot to grow up in terms of quality, to be sure, and I think it's ambitious, but for everybody wants to have the highest level they can have. And I think also that in terms of identity, we need to develop our communication about what is a clear identity of Cru Bourgeois in terms of first, location, second, value, and we'll talk in a few minutes about values, and in terms of capacity to be very accessible in price, in taste, and also in human being. And we think that the next very great step for Cru Bourgeois will be to develop a real sustainable policy inside our group of estates. Why? Because today the only environmental part is not enough. Everywhere, people want to find sense when they buy something, wine, food, or other products. And we need to show, and probably we will be the first association of producers to be really engaged in a full development of sustainability inside our group of 200, today 250 estates, but also through the social and societal part. The first step for us will be to engage in an official certification in sustainability, the Alliance des Cru Bourgeois, and with the capacity during the next 5 years to help all our wine growers to integrate better practices everywhere, human resources practices, environmental practices, to have probably to build a real strategy to be able to anticipate when we need to anticipate the different changes of our context ecosystem, and that's the new future for Cru Bourgeois du Medoc. Next one, I think it's, yeah, no, it's okay. The chronology of the following classification, just to have an idea, beginning of the 2023, we're just beginning to give the application to be candidate to this classification. In September, we will have the obligation to deposit the classification, and also we're beginning at the beginning of 2024 the first tasting, the blind tasting. You need to know that from the 17 to the 21, the independent body had stored 100 bottles of each vintage of each estate, actually Cru Bourgeois, for the next classification. In February 2024, it will be the time for the people who wants to have a superior category as a Cru Bourgeois superior or exceptional Cru Bourgeois to deposit this additional application, developing best practices in viticulture, enology, and everything about marketing and promotion. In December, after the visit of the estates, after the works of the experts during this visit and the study of the application, and after the tasting, the jury at the end of the 2024 will be able to deliberate about the certification of Cru Bourgeois exceptionnel and Cru Bourgeois supérieur, because as you understood, for these two categories, the minimum is to have in terms of notes about the second application is to have 12 points. But you can have 12, you can have, I think it's the maximum is 20 probably. Donc, the jury needs to deliberate to classify between this group of estates, which will be superior and which will be exception. And I hope the period will be better than the next in the past. We will be able to communicate about the classifications, the new classification available for 5 years too, in the beginning of March 2025. That's the timing of our next classification. In terms of events, we changed a little bit our profile of communication and promotion for Cru Bourgeois. First, for our domestic market, we considering that we need to develop all the contact, the relationship with the final consumers. And we're beginning to have very great events. It could be in Paris. We had an event in Bordeaux, and next week we will have a nice event in Lille, on the north of France, because we need to share the value of Cru Bourgeois with the final consumers. Because the better way to give the message is through the wine brewers. And there's a reason why we had Vinexpo Paris, we had the good wine only you see at the end in June. And well, for the domestic market, it's really a decision to be more focused on the B2C business. For the export market, well, absolutely necessary to be present and to have a good visibility on the matured markets, United States, UK, and absolutely necessary to well, to do a new connection with the Asia market, because since the beginning of the COVID period, the connections are not so good. It's quite complicated to, well, or almost impossible to go to China to for the business. And the reason why we decided this year to be present in the Vinexpo Singapore. It will be a very great moment for the Cru Bourgeois to give a very good visibility and to give all the messages we need to give about who we are and what is our future. Next one, please. Wow. Today, in terms of, I think it's important to say that you have 250 estates. We don't have really route du vin as in other countries, but we trying to develop the concept. And today, more than 90% of the chateau are open to the visitors. Open during the week. Some estates open during the weekend, but always with. I talked about accessibility in terms of human being. The Cru Bourgeois are really accessible for everybody, and with the capacity to have a nice moment during a visit everywhere. Next one, please. Okay. I'm just on the right timing, 42 minutes. Well, I'm ready if you have some questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Frank. Yes, there's a few questions there that have come through. I think one or two of them have been answered. Charles' first couple, I think, have been answered. Your professional tasters are independent and not connected with any producers, are they, or estates? They're all independent. And then the next one was Liz was asking, are there limits to the number of estates in each Cru Bourgeois category, or is it entirely up to the assessment of the applicants?
Today we try to, sorry, first, we have no limit about the quantity of candidates for the classification. Okay, today we have 250 estates classified. Tomorrow it could be 300 or 180. It's just in relation with you understood the quality of the wine and the quality of the management we can have in the estate. In terms of quantity of estates for each category, the volunteer is to have a pyramidal classification. It could be absolutely impossible to understand for the consumer if you have more exceptional Cru Bourgeois than Cru Bourgeois superior or regular Cru Bourgeois. We found to have a pyramidal certification just to guarantee the highest quality at each level. And I don't know, it could be today you have a 14 exceptional Cru Bourgeois. I can think that probably it could be between 10 and 20 for the next one. I don't know, but not 30 or 40, because we need to show the best at each category, and for that, the pyramidal structure of our classification is the best.
Okay, and do the independent tasters know which classifications they're tasting?
Sorry, can you repeat?
So when the tasters are tasting the wines, do they know which classification their people are applying for?
No, absolutely not. It's completely blind tasting without any idea about the classification the estate wants to have. It just takes the wine and giving a notation ABCD as I shown before. I think it's important to say that for the next one, the classification 2025, we need to train the tasters about the vintage, because each vintage in Bordeaux is different, and we need to train the people with the main characteristic of each vintage. But something new is to train the tasters about the pleasure we can have tasting the wine. It's just a question of full bodiness, a question of structure, a question of color. We talked also about the pleasure to taste the wine, and it will be a new part of the training we will have this year for the next tasting we will have in 2024.
That's quite a task for the tasters. And one was here from Keith. He was asking, do you reach out to properties which traditionally did not wish to be included in the Cru Bourgeois classification, i.e. Chateau Gloria and Lanassin?
Well, in the past, you have probably 10, 12 great chateaux today assimilated to classified growth, like Ormeaux de Pèze, Gloria, Saucian-d'Aumalé, and other one. And we know that today some chateaux ask more information about the new classification, because they can find an opportunity to develop their image and notoriety through the classification, expecting that obligatory, due to the high quality they have, or they think they have, be classified exception. To be honest, it will be great if some chateau come back to the Cru Bourgeois family. Anyway, the classification is not made to see the coming back of this chateau. I'm not sure that in terms of strategy, it's so great for this sort of cru to come back, because the risk is after blind tasting. You have always a risk because it's a tasting, a blind tasting. You have the risk to don't have the right notation of your wine to be exceptional. And well, I'm just expecting the beginning of the next year to see if we have a movement of some chateau towards our system of classification. But it could be fine, but I'm not sure it will be a lot.
Okay, Keith.
Thank you.
And you've got your next question there, Keith, as well, if you'd like to ask that as you're off mute.
Yep. Thank you. The problems in the Chinese market have impacted some properties, particularly in Cru Bourgeois generally. Which new markets do you think it might be good to reach out to?
Which
new markets would you like to reach out to? Perhaps may replace some of the sales lost in China.
Okay. Well, to be honest, today probably 60 to 70% of the Cru Bourgeois are sold through the domestic market. Anyway, the domestic market today is more and more difficult due to the huge inflation we have. Today, probably the best opportunity for Cru Bourgeois is the US market. Why? Because in terms of value, in front of the good wine from the local producers, the value is great. Each time we had a tasting with retailers or distributors through our association, people are amazed by the high quality we have for the price. And we have the opportunity today, probably it's just for the next probably 2 or 3 years, we don't know, but the rate of change between US dollar and the euro is particularly very favorable for our business. The reason why I think that it will be the US market will be a good opportunity, and I'm also quite confident with the UK market, because UK market loved matured wine and not only young wines like in our domestic market. And today, every state, due to the difficulty of the market, every state have quite a lot of stock of matured vintage, and probably for the on-premise market, it's a great opportunity for the UK market.
Agreed. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. There's another. Becky Sue has asked that if a chateau applies for the standard category and the tasters think it is exceptional, which category will it be put into?
I'm sorry, the sound is really, really bad. I
Sorry,
don't listen to.
if the Chateau applies for a standard category of Cru Bourgeois,
Yeah.
and when it's tasted, it is deemed to be exceptional.
Yeah.
Is it put into the exceptional category, or is it left?
Now, first, people who decided to don't deposit the second application to be superior or exceptional. The estate could be tasted at the level exceptional, but it stay at the level regular Cru Bourgeois, because you don't ask any you don't deposit the second application showing the practices can have in the viticulture or vinification or etc., you know, and
So it's not elevated.
but I think
It's not put into a higher classification.
Right, but you know, I think that's well, it's the same everywhere. Inside the classified growth, you can have a very great fifth or fourth classified growth, better than the third or second classified growth. And I think that at least when you are regular Cru Bourgeois, you know your notation, because we receive the result after the publication of the classification. If you are a regular Cru Bourgeois and you receive your notation for the tasting as superior or exceptional, well, great. You can just have the strategy for the next 5 years to develop the rest, to develop your practices, to develop your sustainability, to be sure that you are the right way to be in the future superior or exceptional.
And then Laura was following up. So if somebody didn't get exceptional, can they just decide just to put Cru Bourgeois on their label if they don't get an exceptional classification?
No, sorry, that wasn't what I was saying.
That's not what you were asking, Laura.
No,
sorry.
I was saying if they apply for supérieur or exceptionnel. Can you hear me okay? Yes. Yeah. But they don't get it.
Yeah.
They don't have to put anything on the label at all. Or if they get supérieur rather than exceptional, they could just decide not to put anything at all, so we wouldn't know that they'd applied.
No, you have the obligation to put on the front label the name Cru Bourgeois, but I'm sure that the collective brand Cru Bourgeois, but all the people today put on the front label the classification, or Cru Bourgeois supérieur or exceptional Cru Bourgeois. And if you are not classified, you don't have any mention Cru Bourgeois on the front label. That's all. I don't know if my answer is correct.
Okay, Laura, it's not.
Hello,
Laura.
I'm not sure if that quite answered my question. I just wondered if people would downgrade their application on the label if they had applied for exceptionnel, but they only got Cru Bourgeois. Are they obligated then to put Cru Bourgeois on the label so that we know that is all that they got?
Today, depending if the cru wanted to be exceptional, accept the result of the classification. If the estate accept to be only regular Cru Bourgeois, okay, he has the obligation to put Cru Bourgeois on the label. But some people prefer to don't have any mention on the front label, saying, no, I prefer to wait for the next classification before to be candidate, or you know, something. We don't have any idea about the quantity of estates who deposit an application for the first classification. Probably, I don't know, 400, 500, we don't know. We don't have any idea. In my case, I asked Cru Bourgeois Exceptionnel for, I don't know, Chateau Arnaud. Well, if at the end of the process, the result is Chateau Arnaud standard Cru Bourgeois, I have the possibility to refuse the classification and to take off to take off of the family of Cru Bourgeois. As I consider.
Question, doesn't it, Laura?
That's right. Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you, Frank. There's just one quick question I think we can just squeeze in. Neil was asking about what is the cost to apply, and then after that, Patty was asking, is there then a further fee to move on to the second application for superior and exceptionnel? So is there a different grade? Is there different costs for different applications?
The cost. I remember the cost personally I paid for superior and exceptional. It was 8,000 euro per estate because we need to pay the expert studying the second application. We need to pay the jury, etc., etc. And to be certified regular Cru Bourgeois, if I remember, it's more or less between 1,500 to 2,000 euro per estate. Well, we need to consider that to be certified Cru Bourgeois today give a real value to the estate. We consider that at the beginning of the process, it was in 2020, people were agreed to say that to be Cru Bourgeois, just a standard Cru Bourgeois, gave in euro 1 euro more on the price of the bottle, depending on the price of the bottle, it more or less 15 to 20% more than the regular production in Medoc. And today you have the range of prices for Cru Bourgeois more well structured. Today you have for exceptional Cru Bourgeois, it could be between 12, 14 to 25 euro a bottle. Superior is between 8 to 12, and regular Cru Bourgeois from 5 to 8, you know. And today, the certification gives us a real value to the brand, and probably with a better, more efficient communication and with more easily to communicate, more easy to communicate, because in the past with the COVID period, it was too difficult to do something. We are quite confident for the future, honestly. And it's the heart of the market. You need to consider that today, this range of wine in France and around the world is the heart of the market. On a retail, we talk about France or United States or UK. Very great value, good wine between 8 to 15, 16 euro. That's the heart of the market. And people want to have well-made wine, authentic wine. Probably the best answer is Cru Bourgeois.
Thank you very much, Frank. I think you've given us a very valuable presentation. And thank you. I'll just hand over to Sue now.
Right, thank you so much, Frank, for taking the time to share that and the advantages.
Sorry, but
see for. Sorry,
my sound was not so good. And
no worries. Well, just a huge thank you for taking the time to share the advantages, which I can see are for everybody, for the
Okay.
winemaker, for the consumer, for the trade. And also, I'm just impressed by how seriously the classification is being managed.
Perfect.
I mean, I think it just reassures everybody that it
Great.
really is up there. And thank you
Great.
very much.